Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Detroit Red Wings franchise mode here in NHL 21. So today's episode is the final off-season, just like our Atlanta series. So we are going to be wrapping up the series in the next 3 episodes. So this is the final off-season. The next episode will be the final season simulation, and the episode afterwards you guys are going to see is the final playoff simulation, unless we miss the playoffs or something like that. I don't really know what the final episode would be after that. Maybe it's like a recap or something. But yeah, anyways, this is the final offseason, which is really crazy to see. We might lose a couple players to retirement this offseason as well, so this might be a tough episode to lose a lot of like guys that we drafted and whatnot. Now, in last episode, we lost to the New Jersey Devils in the first round of playoffs after making it back to the playoffs for like the first time in quite a few seasons, like 4 seasons I think it was. But hopefully we can get back to the playoffs again for this last final season. I don't know if we will for sure because this team is getting old and guys are dropping off and whatnot. But at least this team has had success before, and we won 1 cup in this franchise mode so far. I don't know if we will win another, but hopefully we do. And yeah, that's basically that. We do have one comment to go over before we get into the potential retirements that we're going to have, and that is from HawksFan88. He says, tough loss, I would say go with Boucher as your first choice, as he looks like he could be a really good defenseman eventually, which it really sucks that he might be a good pick eventually, because we're not going to be able to see this guy make it to the NHL one day, because we are right at the end of the franchise mode as well, because we are close to the 25-year maximum as well. But we should be able to get this Guy Boucher guy, kind of like the same name as the coach. Hopefully this guy ends up being a good defenseman. I don't know if he's going to make the NHL right away. We might try and just throw him into our lineup at some point if he is NHL ready, but if he's not, obviously we will never get to see him play. But yeah, that's basically the only comment I have to go over before we get into this final offseason. Also, I want to let you guys know that I am still recording on an Xbox One, so this video might be a bit slower paced than it would be on a Series X because of the fact that this console runs so slow by comparison. But anyways, let's get into this final offseason and find out who retires for ours, because we do have a couple players that could retire. I'll show you actually who could retire at the moment, just in case you guys forget, because it has been a while since we recorded an episode due to my Xbox Series X problems. But as you can see, Caden Demon's 34. He's getting probably pretty close to retirement. I don't know if he will retire by the end of this franchise mode, though. Caden Matthews honestly could retire this year or next year, or he might not retire at all. There's also guys like Amir DeKaiser, who's probably going to retire. We brought him back. He might retire. We also have Savonin, who we brought in a few years ago. He's probably going to be retiring soon. Phil Powell could retire. Also, Noel Andrews, who we just brought in, might retire at some point. Marcos Biggs might retire at some point. Like, there's a lot of old players on this team. And then also, Rohan Howes is more than likely going to be retiring. He's 38 years old now. So, yeah, he might end up retiring, which is crazy. So, yeah, we're probably going to lose a lot of players this year in this offseason, and our team is probably not going to be good next season. But since we're doing the entire offseason, hopefully I can bring in some good free agents in this episode and stuff as well. So, let's get into the retirements, because those are the first things that are probably going to pop up, I would assume, before we get into the draft. Hopefully we don't lose anybody huge, though. So, Florida has the first overall pick, followed by Arizona, Chicago, San Jose, and Philadelphia. So, those are your top 5. Florida moving from 5 to 1. Please don't lose anybody huge. Retirement class. Please don't lose anybody huge. I feel like we're going to lose at least 2 or 3 people, though. And let's see who retires. Starting off with... Oh, you got to be kidding me. I didn't think Curry Savonin was actually going to retire, because I know he was 39 or 40 years old now, but... he does decide to finally hang them up with 966 career goals, 3 points over point per game. I brought this guy in trying to get us the Stanley Cup with him. He is a really solid player. So as you can see, we brought him in from Montreal. He put up 50 goals in his first season with us, then went to 31, then went to 56, which was pretty crazy, but 35 this last season. Only 55 points. But yeah, he's going to retire. What a good career this guy had in St. Louis and Montreal, like for that 1 year, and then coming to us for 4 years. He was a really great player, and also he was pretty good in the playoff matchups we had. 10 points in his last 13 playoff games. 100 point per game in the playoffs, but he had 73 goals in 150 games. Man, one of the greatest all-time goal scorers. Best of luck in retirement, Kari. You're a really good player. And also, Francois Como retires. This guy, he was like drafted, I believe it was one of the drafts we had, one of the top 3 picks. I remember seeing this guy in like the top 5. But yeah, some pretty big retirements this year. I don't know if we lost anybody else. Doesn't look like it yet, which is good. But yeah, the big one obviously being Savonin. He had the most goals by far, probably in this retirement class. UC Kolemäinen, a former undrafted player we signed. And yeah, he was pretty good with us for his first few years, but then really dropped off a cliff. He's going to retire as well. 34 points in his first season. Then he went up to over point per game, but then he just dropped off considerably in terms of his point production ever since. Played a bit in Florida, San Jose, Nashville. Returned to Florida for a bit too, and Chicago for his last season. And yeah, 46 points in 79 playoff games, 66 preseason points. And 615 regular season points, which is pretty good for an undrafted player. Definitely a pure playmaker. Best of luck in retirement. What else did we lose? Or any former players of ours that I actually recognize? Malachi Corbin, we had this guy for a little bit. I believe only like a couple seasons or 1 season. Yeah, we only had him for like 1.5 years. He wasn't that great for us, especially defensively, but he retires. Anybody else? But it doesn't... Oh, there is one. Jose Stewart, who signed with the Tampa Bay Lightning. He retires with 1,038 games played. One of the best defensive defensemen I probably ever had. A plus 178 in his career. Only played 10 games with Tampa this year. 2 assists in that span. He's going to retire at 37. Yeah, he was a really dynamite defensive defenseman at some points in his career. Like playing alongside of Wall, he was a rock at some points. Like, we go through his earlier stages of his career, he was a really good plus-minus in the AHL at one point, but then all of a sudden, right here, that plus 65 season, I don't think I've ever seen a guy with that good a plus-minus over... Yeah, it was over this span from 35, 36. Yeah, it was over a 4 or 5 year span. He was a really good plus-minus. And then obviously it hurt him in that one season where he was a minus 16, but yeah, he was a really good player for us. Best of luck in retirement, Jose. Anybody else? I don't remember if we had this Jaskalainen dude on our 4th line. I think we did for a little bit. Yeah, we did. I knew I recognized that name. Not a legend by any means. Oh, there's another one. Raphael Ouellette, who we drafted quite a few years ago, retires at 36. This guy really didn't have much of a career, but 163 points in 477 games. Didn't really give him much of an opportunity. He was more of like a depth guy for us, but best of luck in retirement to Raphael. I don't remember if we had Rodrigo Stoll. Did we have Rodrigo Stoll, or was it the other Stoll I'm thinking of? No, we did have Rodrigo Stoll. Only played 37 games with us. And it was between a 9-year span, which is kind of crazy. Anything else? But yeah, it really sucks when players that you draft retire, like this guy, Craig Clymer. You guys might not remember him, but he was a medium elite enforcer, I think, that we drafted. And we ended up trading him away to Vegas. Yeah, we ended up trading him away to Vegas. I believe with the DeKaiser trade. Or, yeah, it was the DeKaiser trade, I'm pretty sure. And, yeah, he ended up actually playing some games in the NHL. But he wasn't that great. Anything else? The other guy with the name Biggs. But we didn't actually lose as much players as I thought so far, it seems like. George Hillis, there's another one that we didn't draft, but he did play with us for a bit. He actually was a pretty good depth option. 6 points in 12 games in his last year. Yeah, this episode might be a bit long because it's been the entire off-season wise, but I'm looking at all these retirements, just trying to find former players of ours, and we are not going to lose Rohan House either, which is a really big surprise to me, considering he's 38. That's really interesting. Oh, Max Bayer also already retired at 35. We played him as a backup for a while. We also traded him to Vegas, I believe in the same deal. But he never played an NHL game up to a couple years ago when we signed him in free agency. But yeah, we actually didn't have as much retirements as I thought. But Kari Savonin is the big one to retire this year. 78 and 18-3. Yeah, that's pretty good points. Best of luck in retirement though, Kari. We're going to miss you. Obviously, that goal scoring is going to hurt a lot. We also do lose Michael Letang or Michel Letang as one of our coaches. And we also lose a scout. Okay. But yeah, that's definitely going to hurt our goal scoring, and I don't know if that means we're going to be a playoff team in this final season. But let's get into the draft quickly. We're going to try and run through it as fast as possible. I might auto-sim a lot of the draft because you guys are never going to see these players play, but let's get that Guy Boucher guy if we can at number 20. So let's see the first top 5 picks. So at number 1, Garlock is going to go to Florida. Arizona is going to take Ovechkin, who's a high top 6 at number 2, which is a little weird. Chicago is going to take DeLuca, who's a medium elite 2-way defenseman. San Jose takes Marchand, who's a playmaker. And Philadelphia at number 5 is going to take Simmons, who's a defensive defenseman. Let's sim to our pick. At number 21, do we have a chance to get Guy Boucher? Yes, we do. Okay, good. So yeah, we're going to take Guy Boucher, 18-year-old right-handed defenseman. Hopefully this guy has a pretty good starting overall so he can maybe crack the lineup in the final year. And he is a 64 top 4 defenseman, so not as high of an overall as I thought he would be, but still a pretty good defenseman. Sucks we're never going to get to see this guy playing the NHL, but I do like that pickup at least. Our next pick in the second round, let's see if this draft is still good or is it bad. There might be a medium elite sniper right here, but we will never get to see this guy play, unfortunately. He's listed as a gem. There's also Konstitsin. Yeah, let's just take this Sheldon Smith-Pelly dude, why not? And he's a medium top 6, 63 playmaker, so that's not a bad pick either. Sucks that we're never going to see any of these dudes play, though. Let's see. Scouts are recommending us a lot of players in this draft. Joshua Mann, he might be the man. It does say Dab right there, which is kind of neat. He's 20 years old, though. I'm going to take the 20-year-old, I think. Yeah, I'm going to take the 20-year-old, might as well. And this guy is a medium top 9, 65 grinder. Not too bad. We have another third round pick as well right here. Braylon Muzzin. Or we could go with Preston Caldwell. We'll go with Braylon Muzzin, why not? And top 60. Soon we're going to, I think, auto-sim the rest of this draft because it doesn't look that deep. Yeah, I think we're going to auto-sim the rest of this, to be honest. Unless this guy's actually good, which I don't think he is. Or this dude. Yeah, I think I'm going to auto-sim the rest of this draft because we're not going to get to see any of these dudes play regardless. So we're going to auto-sim that, and we'll get into the re-sign stage and free agency. But I don't really know what we're going to do free agency-wise and stuff. So computer gets us Stoner, Shirokov, Tulipov, and Solovyov. So apparently like they like Russians, which is interesting. Okay, let's get into this re-sign stage. Who do we have to bring back this offseason? We do have some expiring contracts for our scouts to re-sign. Man, this is so slow. I hate how slow this is on an Xbox One. Like, it's actually painful going back to this. Like, I don't know how I used to play at this speed. Like, Series X is way better. And that is good. Okay, so let's see who we got to get back. I don't remember who we got to get back. So, let's see. RFA-wise, Isaac Dika needs a long-term contract. He wants $12 million. That is a lot of money. We have $60 million in cap space, which is a lot, but we do got to get back some big boys. Digman, for your contract, you want 2 years at $14 million. I honestly might just give a lot of these people what they want. Let's just release some of these guys that are not going to make it first. So I feel like I'm actually doing something. Because most of these guys are never going to get the play anyways. Or all these guys are not going to get the play. We'll sign this Schroeder dude. Yeah, we'll sign this Schroeder dude. Why not? And we'll also sign this low elite who looks like he would have been a good defenseman at some point. Same with Waterspoon. And we'll sign DeVoe. And I'll let go of a couple of these AHLers. I'll let go of Visnovsky because he's making too much money. And I'll also let go of Orr for now. We'll probably find some new depth options. Clarence Lutzer. This guy was playing in the AHL, right? But he does want a two-way deal, so I'll try and get him back. Try and get a lot of these higher AHL overall guys back for potential depth. Because we do need it if we're going to make the playoffs. because we will probably hit some injury bugs. Okay, let's see who we got for goalie-wise. We got Rohan House to bring back. I'm really surprised he's coming back, but he's going to get signed for a two-way deal if he wants to do that. But let's knock off the big ones. So, Dingman, 2 years. Let's me try and talk you down to 14 on the dot, because I really don't care what I'm giving you for this last off season. And then Isaac Dika, we'll give you a 4-year deal at what you want. Almost, I'll talk you down to like 10.5. See if you will be willing to do that. Hopefully he does. And then we'll get these guys signed up for the AHL. Both of them should accept as well. RFA goalie-wise, we got nothing, which is good. Unsigned-wise, we could bring in Reza, so I will sign him for an AHL contract. Actually, he won't be able to play in the AHL yet. Stepan looks like he would be such a good player at some point. This is a low-league guy that we got in the 7th round, and he's an offensive defenseman with really good passing. Man, I really wish I would have got this guy to the NHL. Like, I might have to create him in NHL 22 and see how he pans out. Because this guy looks like he would be a pretty good player. Because he won't even get to play in the AHL for the final few years. What about goalie-wise? No, I'm not going to sign any of those guys. They're too low. Okay, so let me hold off on DeKaiser for now since he didn't retire. Hold off on Powell for now. We will sign Seal Fido to a 1-year deal. Try and get him for like 2.85. Marcos Biggs, 6.4. Jesus. It's a lot of money to give away to a guy that's dropping off, but we'll give him $6 million because he needs to retire with this club. Stapleton wants $8 million bucks. Are you kidding me? I'm going to advance today and see if we get these guys first, though, because I want to make sure I get the ones I want. I saw a lot of rejections in there, I think. Yeah, Dingman did not accept yet, and Biggs hasn't accepted yet either, and Dika rejected too. We'll just give Dika what he wants, see if he accepts that. But yeah, we need to get these big boys back for sure. So, Dingman. Yeah, we'll just give you what you want. Screw it. We have a lot of cap space. And then we'll give Powell 3 years at 5.9 is not bad. We'll do that. Might as well. Even though he's 33. And DeKaiser's dropping off. We'll give him what he wants. I will give Biggs a little bit more money for 1 year just because I want him to accept, obviously, because he needs to retire with this club. And we will try also get Stapleton. I could give him almost what he wants. I'll try and give him a little bit less because he is asking for quite a bit. But this is the final season anyways, so might as well get these guys locked up. After these scouts accept. Let's go through that quickly. And we still need Dingman, DeKaiser, Powell. But I think, yeah, we got Dika back, which is great. We only have $34 million in cap space, which means I might not be able to afford most of them. Or all of them at once. I will give Dingman 15.8. Hopefully we do have enough cap space to get some good free agents, though. And we'll give DeKaiser 7.25. And Phil Powell, I will give you 6.5. I think I should be able to afford everybody and then get free agents still, too. At least I really hope I can. Let's see if we get the 3 of those dudes. And yes, we do. Good stuff. We have 7.86 in million only in cap space. We are right up against the cap still, even after losing somebody like Savonin. But what do we got going into next season so far? So, Matthews is our number 1. Belanger is our number 2. Powell is our number 3. Schumacher is our number 4. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We could probably use a little bit better of depth options. But I mean, our forward core doesn't look terrible. We could probably find maybe a better 4th line center. But Schumacher is not that bad, and he's a young guy. I wouldn't mind keeping him in on that spot. But yeah, our forward core doesn't look that bad so far. Defensively looks, yeah, this is where we probably need to address our defense. Because that's basically our top 6 defensemen. We probably could use another depth defender. And goalie-wise, I might need to find a new backup goalie, to be honest. And then I might just have to run Rohan House down there in the minors with DeMaio and then scratch Marcord and Rask. I don't know if I could actually get another goalie, can I? I might be able to. I'll see if I can find a new goalie and another depth option, because I don't really know if I want to play Rohan House in the NHL this year, even though he deserves to play. We just need to make sure this team makes the playoffs. But I think our defensive core is definitely where we're weak. It's more about finding somebody that's affordable with that 7.86. I might actually try and play Rohan House this year. I think will try too, because I need to find a defenseman with that leftover money, I know for sure. Because our defensive core definitely looks weaker than our forward core at the moment. So let's see some available free agents, see if there's anybody that's actually affordable that could help out our defensive core. Let's, UFA wise, go to defenseman. See if there's anybody that's not asking an arm and a leg. So we have enough to get some of these guys that are like 81, 82. But literally, I feel like the cap is in flux so much though in this, because an 81 overall defenseman for 7.3 is not very great. There's a let's see, anybody that's not bad. I mean, he is 33 and he's an offensive defenseman. Hector Sullivan, not that bad of looking in terms of his skills. 1 year at 1.475. That might not be that bad to bring in an 80 as a depth option like that. Zetterberg, Cork, but like a lot of guys are asking for way too much money. 78 wants $2.4 million. Oh, how good is Sullivan? Does he match our system at all, or it doesn't look like it? I need somebody that matches our system and is not overly expensive. Philippe Savard's 35, but it's 79. I don't really know, because we need more of a depth defenseman and an actual like NHL ready defenseman. Ristolainen 25, two-way defenseman, 78 overall. It's not too bad. How good is his stats? 91 defensive awareness, but really bad offensive awareness. Kind of a weird overall guy. Was a former 12th overall pick. And his plus minus is not that great in Minnesota. Point totals are not terrible. I might bring him in as a depth option, to be honest. Let me see. Does he match our system? No. Johansson does, though. Oh, but that guy's a high overall. Why the heck is he all the way up there? Or why did he go all the way up there? I honestly don't know what we want to bring in for depth. We could bring back that Cracknell defenseman again. This guy, I think we had him for a little bit, right? No, we didn't. This was a different Cracknell. What the heck? Or was it Cracknell that was like old that we brought in as a depth defenseman? I think we'll bring in this dude, to be honest. Does he match our system? Not really, probably, but we will still bring him in. Might as well. He's like the cheapest option out there. We need some cheap options. And then let me take a look at backup goalies, because I might still want to pick up a better backup. Even though I really like Rohan House, obviously, because he's been with us for so long. Let's see, do we have any goalies that are not wanting too much? 900k for an 84 overall backup. Raimo Suhonen. Damn, this guy doesn't want a lot at all. Like 900k for an 84? You know what, we're going to sign this dude. It might be too good of an overall for a backup goalie, but 900k, that's cheap. You got to get something decent. And let's just see if there's any good potential prospects even that could jump up. Not really. Most of these guys are like 25 years old. Okay, so that's all we're going to do for this final offseason of signings. Let's advance a few days, see if we can get those guys. And then we will make a jump cut to the start of the season and just take a look at our edited lines and all that sort of thing. And then that'll be it for this final offseason. But I think our team hopefully could make the playoffs next year. If you guys think there's any trades we should do, though, let me know, because I obviously will take those into account in the final season simulation, which is next episode. So Cracknell signs with us, so that's our depth defenseman, and Suhonen accepts as well, which is great. So anyways, guys, I'm going to make a quick jump cut to the start of the next season, and I will see you guys in a second. Okay, guys, so our lineup looks pretty good going into our final season. So we got Dika, Matthews, and Dingman still. Garrison, Powell, and DeKaiser, which looks pretty good. I could always change Belanger and Powell around, which I might end up doing because Belanger is younger. And then third line, it has Andrews. It had Belanger, but I'll probably change it around again, like I said. And Brett Reardon, who might end up taking like Garrison or DeKaiser's role on that second line from him at some point, just because he is a better overall and he's a young medium elite player. And then fourth line wise, we have Mats Gustafsson, who's going to be jumping up to the NHL this season. So I'm excited to see how he could do. Former 19th overall pick of ours. He has some pretty good offensive stats, so excited to see what he could do. He's playing with Cameron Schumacher and Jonathan Cialfido, so a pretty solid forward line combination. I think our team should make it back to the playoffs with this type of lineup, but you never know. And then defensively, we got Harnikainen and Samson, Stapleton and Lilia, Rodriguez, and Marcos Biggs, who's dropped down to his 78 now. He's going to be playing on that top 6 pairing. But our defensive core doesn't look terrible, considering what people are asking for in terms of money and stuff like that. Obviously, this defensive core could be still upgraded, but I don't really feel like trading away Biggs or using him as a depth defenseman. So yeah, that's our defensive core. And goalie-wise, we got Stevenson and Suhonen, who we just signed on a nice contract. Hopefully this goalie could be a pretty solid backup for us. He's not really played that much in the NHL. He hasn't really had a good career so far, but still he was really cheap. Might as well bring in a good overall backup goalie. And then depth-wise, we got Doug Bomick, and we got Dwayne Sandlack, and we also got Fabian Cracknell. And then in the AHL, this is what our team looks like so far down there. Not a lot of good chemistry, but it doesn't really matter too much. We do have a couple good goalies down there. So Henry DeMaio, who's a medium elite goalie, he would probably be making the NHL next season, but unfortunately we're not going to get to see him play. We also have Rohan Howes, who got sent down there because he didn't retire. And then also Eugene Markward's a 76, and Nico Rask is also a 76. So some pretty good goalies in our pipeline down there in the minors. But yeah, that's basically what our team looks like going into this final season. Sucks that we got guys dropping off like Matthews and whatnot, but we are a pretty old and veteran-heavy team. I'm really hoping this team can actually make it back to the playoffs again like last year, because our team looks not too bad, I would say. Obviously, we are in a bad cap situation for the future, but at least all these guys are signed back up and whatnot, so that is that. And I think that's pretty much it. Let me just make sure the captains are good to go. So Matthews is an alternate, Dingman is an alternate, and yeah, Marcos Biggs has to be the captain because he's been here for a very long time. So that is good to go. And I think that's pretty much it, if I'm not mistaken. Let me take a look at the trading block. Even though I didn't do this in my Atlanta episode, I will do this for this, just in case there's any trades you guys want me to make to start the season, because this is going to be our last chance to win a Stanley Cup. But there's a lot of guys making some pretty big money that we're probably not going to be able to afford unless we were to get rid of somebody making a big salary, which means Dingman mostly, because Dingman's making like 15 mil. But yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to afford making a trade. But if you guys see any trades you want me to make, like I said, let me know, because this is the last time you'll be able to let me know for trades, because next episode is going to be the full simulation for the season. Oh, let's see. It sucks that this series is coming to an end, but we've been running this series since like the beginning of NHL 21, which is really crazy to see, because I didn't even think this series would reach almost 100 episodes, but here we are. It's a pretty fun series though. And also, if there's anybody on this entire team or that has retired that you guys think that should be a Hall of Famer, like a Channel Hall of Fame player, let me know, because maybe I'll do like a Channel Hall of Fame introduction type of thing, where I start putting players into the Channel Hall of Fame, kind of like what Tugi does with his videos. That way we could kind of build up a reputation of all these Hall of Fame players from all our franchise modes. So if you guys know anybody on the team that you would like to nominate, example, Caden Matthews, Caden Demon, Jose Stewart, Tristan Wall, that type of player, Rohan Howes. There's a lot of good names in this series that could make it into a Hall of Fame situation, I would say at least. But we haven't actually had like one superstar type of player that we've drafted. Like, I mean, Caden Matthews and stuff are good, but they're not at the same level as somebody like Savonin, who just retired, because Savonin was a really good goal scorer, one of the best of all time. But Matthews is nowhere close to being one of the best all-time players, but he is still a really good player for this franchise mode. Damn, yeah, a lot of guys are making like 14 million in this franchise mode. right near the end. Halverson. Not really. Well, there is a lot of interesting players. It's just more about if we can afford them. Like, we can afford this Bartkowski guy who doesn't actually have a lot of value, but he's a goalie, which we don't really need. But yeah, we could definitely afford some players. It's just more about if we want to actually part ways with guys that we like have drafted and whatnot. Anything else I want to check? Let's quickly check free agents. See if there's any more free agents still that are really good in case we want to bring somebody else in. There is still some good players. 83 overall player for 1.95 is pretty good. But do these guys match our system is the thing? I don't know. Ian Sharp, for example, no, he doesn't. This guy might fit our system. Yeah, it doesn't really look like it. But there is still some options in case we want to bring in any extra depth like Datsyuk, Geiserman. Goalie-wise, we don't really need to bring anybody in, but there's still good goalies there too. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Detroit Red Wings franchise mode. So in next episode, we'll take it to the final season simulation, and hopefully our team can make it back to the playoffs again like they did last season, and hopefully this time around we could go farther than the first round, and hopefully we can maybe make it back to a Stanley Cup Finals, but I feel like that might be a bit of a long shot. So let me know what you guys think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.